I mean, there is the question of why me? Why did I end up having this problem with drinking where it seems like the majority of people do not? I mean, most people can drink, now and again. They're not obsessed with it. They don't consider it a problem. They don't get DUIs. They don't drink in a way that causes havoc in their own homes. How did I end up with this problem? It can be, and always is, a combination of factors. First of all, we don't know exactly why. We haven't yet figured out the real causes of alcohol and drug problems, why some people seem to be susceptible to these problems and other people not so much, if at all. We think there's a genetic component for some people, but they're not the majority. Of all the people who come for treatment of an addiction, less than a third of them come from families that have the problem. So there can be some biological predisposition. I'm certainly in the patients that I've seen over many decades, significant numbers of them come from families where a parent is alcoholic or a grandparent, aunts and uncles, sometimes siblings. So it does appear for some people to run in families, but that's never the full explanation. The most remarkable observation I think I've been privileged to make over 50 years of being in this field as an addiction specialist is that I have not seen a single person who's come seeking my help saying that their problem with alcohol or drugs developed during a time in their life when they were reasonably happy and self-satisfied. Addiction problems do not develop in a vacuum. They develop in the context of a person's life. And they more often than not develop during times when there may not be any major life crises, but a person is suffering from a sort of undercurrent of being unfulfilled, unhappy. It can be during a time where bad things happen to them, where, a loved one dies or becomes ill, or they have gone through a period of serious illness themselves. They may have transitioned from one life stage to the next, and they're having difficulty adjusting to the life transition, whether it means, from early adulthood into being a more mature adult, or from being a more mature adult to dealing with aging problems, dealing with child rearing, having kids, rearing kids, kids leaving home, whatever it happens to be, life transitions related to somebody's job, profession, or career. There's usually been some turmoil in a person's life during the time that they have developed an addiction. And rarely, if ever, I can't think of a single person I've seen over all of these years who said, well, I was happy and doing just fine and I developed this addiction. Happy people don't get addicted. It doesn't nullify that there may be some biological vulnerability. Not everybody who experiences turmoil in their life ends up abusing substances. So it's not a one-to-one correspondence. It's got to be a combination of things. There may have been some inherited vulnerability. There may have been other factors in there that led somebody to sort of cross the line from using a substance to abusing it to becoming dependent on it. Unfortunately, we don't know what those factors are at this point. It's still a bit of a mystery. It's that mystery of not understanding addiction completely that is why it happens to some people and not others, and is there a surefire way to cure it? The fact that we don't have answers to those questions is what's kept me interested in this field now for almost 50 years, because I can't say that I do completely understand it. Every person I see is a unique situation, and try my best to understand their situation in context as I come to know them. And over time, it becomes clearer to me how this developed and what the forces were that were operating on them that led to the development of the problem. I still don't get an answer to the question of, why they in particular developed this problem as a result of this confluence of life circumstances, because there are other people who may have gone through similar experiences who didn't develop an alcohol or drug problem. So there's probably some other factors, and they could well be biological, perhaps psychological factors, or a combination that have led to that vulnerability. I just don't know for sure.